This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Mixer is giving streamers the opportunity to make more money. More news on The Witcher 3 getting HDR on PS4. The March lineup of games on PS4 has been revealed, and Mario Odyssey could get more DLC in the future. All of this and more on episode number 80 of the Analog Circle podcast. What is going on, gamers? I'm your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I truly want to say hello and thank you for tuning into another episode of the Analog Circle podcast. Now, before we continue on with the show, I want to let you guys know that you can listen to some previously recorded podcasts of the show over on Stitcher, iTunes, Audio Mac, Google Play, as well as SoundCloud. And once again, after about a week and a half hiatus, the number is back. Yes, the hotline is back up and running, people. Now, the number, if you want to call in and let your voice be heard, and you want to talk about something, it can be anything gaming related. You can call in on the hotline at 443-216-9934. Now, I want you guys to know that want to leave a voicemail, you have a 3-minute window to do so. I believe on the last one, it might have been 2 minutes and some change, but it's a couple of extra seconds in there for you. But if you don't want to call, if you just want to keep it on the email, you can always email the show at theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Now, guys, without further ado, I hope you're kicking off your shoes and relaxing, because we're about to get into it, baby. We're going to get into, first off, before we get into the news, let's go ahead and get into my favorite part of the podcast, and that is, of course, the feedback section. So without further ado, Mr. Cody Clark, like I say every single week, brother, whoo, man, oh man, you keep it alive, baby. You keep it alive, brother, this section. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Mr. Cody Clark's email. Now, the name of his email is Kick Fail Starter. Here we go. He says, I had forgotten your take and feelings on Kickstarter. I can see why many people would be down on the idea of crowdfunding for large projects like games, especially with all of the fails and mediocre practices that have become commonplace. Shenmue 3, Star Citizen, Mighty Number 9, etc. Was Bloodstained delayed again? I forget. Actually, it did get delayed, Cody. It definitely did. But getting back to his email, the platform has tons of success stories, though. So it is a double-edged sword. Sure, you have to deal with the System Shock guys having Duke Nukem syndrome, where they want the newest and the biggest, instead of having a solid vision that they want to spread out. You could make the same argument about Steam Direct and all of the total garbage and asset flips coming out that bury any good games under thousands of heaps of dung. Ugh. When used properly, it can be an amazing tool that avoids the EAs and Activisions of the world, so we can get something none of the big kids would ever do. It does seem kind of easy to abuse, and I think, like the stock market or gambling, some people find that attractive. I'm not against the service, but I agree that when you deal with Kickstarter, you should hold yourself to a higher standard. Mr. Cody Clark, brother, man, another good email. Got to tell you, really like this. Now, last week, I was talking about Kickstarter, saying how I don't like the service. I mean, so many different Kickstarter ideas, at least gaming-wise, and I'm only speaking from a gaming standpoint, have been started and never finished. I said that I think it needs to be better parameters about this. I think that if you have put your hard-earned money up and you believe in this person's vision or this team's vision of what this game is going to be, I truly believe that you should have the option, if they do deter and they don't stay on course and it doesn't look like things are being done, I think that it should be some kind of clause in there that says if you don't have this done by a certain time, you should be able to get a refund. Now, I understand game development, games always slip. It's a normal thing. Sometimes they don't meet their due date. I fully understand that. But I do believe that a studio should never just be able to go dark and say, hey, we're going to get back to it when we get back to it. I think that it should always be progress that's happening and just not a, wait and we'll see what happens approach. That's where I think you should be able to take your money out of Kickstarter. If it looks like they're being stagnant, nothing is happening, no motion, it's time to pull out. So that's the only thing I was saying, Cody, is I really believe that, the regulations need to be a little more stronger and geared towards the actual backer not getting the short end of the stick. That's all. But like you said, Cody, you are a supporter of it. You didn't say that. You said you're not against it. And there have been some success stories. I'm very, very sure that has been the case. It just seems like when it comes to gaming, it's a little outrageous and out of control. But anyway, Cody, as I say every single week, I truly thank you for this email. And don't worry, brother, I got your email from the Kiaun Vince. I'm going to read that as well. Shout out to the people that actually gave that show a chance. I really appreciate that. Kiaun Vince is just a shorter podcast where I'm just talking about anything. Nothing in general, just whatever comes to mind. But anyway, if you want to, check that out and have a good time with it. But guys, now finally for a change, and I think this is going to be a bit of a longer podcast. I can feel it coming. But I actually got to get on the sticks this week. Man, first off, I have to shout out again, Mr. Goose. Brother, I finally got a chance to play Monster Hunter. I did, brother. And let me tell you something. I want to give you guys my best first impressions about this game, okay? Graphically, it's a nice looking game. No complaints. It's a very nice looking world in the game. The controls to me, oh buddy, stuff start getting a little touch and go with the controls, Goose. I got to be honest with you, man. And once again, shout out to Goose because it's because of him that I was even able to play Monster Hunter. He actually donated a copy to me, which is wonderful and it's definitely not taken for granted. But I gotta be honest with you, Goose. If I can't be honest with y'all, then what's my word worth? So, the gameplay is when things started going a little south for me, brother. The story, the only story I got from the game is, hey man, y'all hunting dinosaurs and monsters, brother. Y'all out there and you're hunting in the trenches, brother, out here in a jungle, Jurassic Park looking god doggone world. So I was playing it. I actually, beat 1 or 2 of the quests. I don't think I did over 2. I'm be honest with you. And I was playing it and I gotta be honest, man. I was not having a good time, man. And this is unfortunate because I really want to enjoy this game. It seems like you need certain weapons. I had a long weapon. I'm slashing at the pterodactyls or whatever they are. And it's just, man, it just feels like work. The blade is starting to get unsharpened and whatnot. I'm like, oh gosh, here we go with the micromanagement. And that is not my kind of game. That's why Zelda, The new Zelda, I am really hesitant about playing that or buying it for that matter because they say your blade gets dull and it doesn't cut as hard. I just want to get into a game, brother, where I can hack and slash and the blade stays sharp, man, the whole way through. That's all I'm saying. And I can tell, brother, this is going to be a micromanaged kind of game. And I tell you, Goose, man, brother, that's just not going to be fun for me, man. It's not. But I'm telling you, Goose, I greatly appreciate this, man. I'm going to try to get back to it. But my first impressions, it's trying, brother. It is really, really trying. But once again, outside of that, I did get into some more games. Shout out to you, though, Goose. Shout out to you, brother. And thank you again. But outside of Monster Hunter, I actually got a chance to play The Order 1886. Now, let me tell y'all a little bit about The Order. Man, this game's beautiful. Oh, man, this game is beautiful. Okay, that's the first thing that stuck out to me. Cutscenes in the game and actual gameplay, God dog, I don't even really see a difference. I truly do not. Game is amazing to look at. Gameplay is actually pretty good. I do enjoy the gameplay. I think it's good. It's solid. It's nothing wrong with it. It's average gameplay. It's not tight. It's not loose. It's okay. The only problem in the story, actually a really good story. Not bad so far. Pretty okay. But my only problem with the game is, and if you want to go over to the YouTube channel, feel free. Just look up the Analog Circle podcast. I'm over there, brother. I got 2 videos of this game up, gameplay of this game. And I mean, it looks horrible. I'm not even going to lie to you. I captured it off of the PS4. And I mean, it's watchable, but it's not high def, my friend. But I tell you, the only problem that I'm really having with this game so far is that when you shoot, the camera is so close. It's very close to you, and it makes it hard to actually aim the cursor to shoot the enemy. I'm like, golly, it looks like your whole screen is taken up by your character in certain parts. So, I mean, I died like 5 or 6 times on one part because I was just having trouble aiming. And the controls, they're not wonky, but it's definitely not smooth like Gears of War. And I'm only comparing the two because they are both cover-based shooters. They are. And Gears just does it better. But I will say this. The Order 1886 is nowhere near as bad as the press made it out to be. Now, I don't know how long the game is. I've been playing it, give or take, maybe 2 hours. So, yeah, basically, I should be done by now. As short as they said the game was. I'm telling you, this game it's really good. It's good so far. This is just, like I said, I can't give a full review of it, but my first impressions are, it's a good game, man. So I'm on that right now. I just picked up Gravity Rush 2. I finally got Shadow of the Colossus. That's up next. I've been spending a little bit more time on the PlayStation 4, and it's been pretty nice. I haven't played Shadow of the Colossus. I'll probably stream it maybe over the weekend along with Gravity Rush 2. But that's where I'm at right now, guys. But as I say every single week, I have rambled on long enough. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into what we all come here for, and that is for the gaming news. Oh, and it was quite a bit that went down. Let's start it off with some really good news now. Now, some good news has come out of the EA camp for a change. I know when people hear EA, they think kryptonite. Oh, it's death as far as gaming goes. But some good has come out about them this week. It looks like Burnout Paradise is getting a current gen remaster, and it has been confirmed by EA. So this is no loose talk. This is actually happening. Now, the game will release for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now, the game will release, as far as the release date, on March 16th, and will include the base game and eight add-on packs. Now, the remaster will support 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. Now, it was mentioned, and I want you guys to note this down. It was mentioned that not all of the versions would be native 4K, possibly being the PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, as far as the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions go, they will run at a native 1080p resolution and 60 frames per second. Now, as far as the PC version goes, that will release later on this year. So I tell you guys, I was very happy to hear this. I am actually a pretty big Burnout fan. I will say that I didn't really play Burnout Paradise as much. I didn't like it as much as the previous Burnout before that, but it's nothing on the market like Burnout right now. So for me personally, I'm definitely going to pick this up. I mean, I believe it's going to be $40, somewhere around in there. It's going to be a great time. And for any Burnout fans out there, hey, this is the time to pick it up, 1080p, 60 frames per second, and have a good time. It's a great game. You know what? Really quickly, this actually got people to thinking. Does this mean, since EA said in the past they would never do remasters, it wasn't good for business, and all of this other talk, people started thinking, does this mean that EA may backtrack on a few of those comments? Meaning that could we see a Mass Effect, or could we see a Dead Space get, a remaster? Nobody knows. I remember listening to Gamertag Radio. Shout out to those brothers. Paris, off of Gamertag Radio, it said he had talked to a EA employee. This was some time ago. And he actually said that he didn't think that was going to be happening. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Grain of salt, brother. Grain of salt as far as like any remasters of any other properties. But anyway, moving on. Now, if you are a streamer on Mixer, you may find this next story kind of lucrative. Now, Mixer is introducing a new feature that allows streamers to sell games directly to viewers, similar to Twitch. Now, by doing this, streamers will get a cut of the sale, and you don't, and this is cool, once you get the cut of the sale, the person that's actually picking up the game, they don't have to exit Mixer to make the purchase. Now, as long as Mixer direct purchase is enabled by the streamer, you'll be fine. You don't have to leave. Also, the game can be bought for Xbox One and PC. Now, when they say PC, they're talking about Windows 10 specifically. Now, once the process is complete, the new purchase is added directly to your game library without having to redeem a code. I like that. Now, this actually also stretches out to DLC as well. So if it's any DLC that the person is playing, you guys will have access to that too. Now, as far as how much the streamer will get per game purchase, well, they will get 5% from that sale. So now if you're a Mixer partner, now this is the thing. If you're a Mixer partner, you'll have access to this in a few days. So you probably have access to it now. But if you are not a Mixer partner, you will have to wait for this feature probably for a couple of months. That's going to suck. Oh, boy. So, anyway, you get 5%. Not a bad deal. Yeah, well, not much more to say about this story. Moving on to the next line of business. 3 more Xbox 360 games are backwards compatible. Brave which is free this month with Xbox Live Gold. You also have Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light. And one of the big games that has been getting a lot of talk this week, Vanquished. I'm going to tell y'all something, brother. Vanquished, man, this game is highly underrated. I remember, now, gotta let you guys know this. Let me put a disclaimer out there, okay? Now, I'm part of the problem because I didn't buy this game. So I know you guys are probably saying, Kiaun, what kind of sense does that make for you to say that it's a highly underrated game, but you never bought it? Listen, I played it, okay? I played it, but I didn't buy it, all right? But I'm telling y'all, the game is fantastic. A really good game. Third-person shooter, kind of a cover-based shooter. I mean, the main character has boosts on his knees. I mean, when he boosts around, he's sliding on his knees, man. It's a really good game. You guys definitely should pick it up. Now, as I was talking about with Vanquished being so high in the news this week, it's another rumor going around. I mean, it's rumors every week. Seems like with Microsoft, every single week. These guys are buying somebody, they're picking up something is becoming exclusive. You just never know these days. But the talk about Vanquished, surrounding Vanquished is that Sega had actually visited Microsoft in, where are they at? In Seattle, right? Redmond, I think. Redmond, Seattle, somewhere around in there. They had went to the office, they took some pictures together, and people started wondering, man, what does this mean? You know, usually when they take pictures together and they show off the pictures, this means that something is happening. Is Microsoft and Sega teaming up again? What could this mean? So obviously, people thought, well, Vanquished, Sega game. I think Platinum actually made it, though. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. I think Sega published it, Platinum designed it. I don't know. But people saw that Vanquished went on to, the backwards compatibility section of Xbox One. All of a sudden, everybody's saying, man, they got exclusive rights to the new Vanquished. I mean, this was started by some guy. I forgot his name. But, you never know. I mean, Sega and Microsoft, they seem to have had some pretty thick ties. In the beginning, I remember when the Dreamcast came out, it had the logo Microsoft CE on the front of the Dreamcast back then. Shenmue 2 came out on the original Xbox. Jet Grind Radio Future came out on the original Xbox. I mean, it was a few titles there, that could, obviously make people believe that they had some real thick ties. I think Panzer Dragoon came out on the original Xbox and came out later on the Xbox One. So the ties have always been there. Could they be hooking back up again? Nobody knows for sure. Some people are saying that they're buying Sega. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen, but maybe purchasing an IP or, something on those lines. I mean, Sega has so many IPs to choose from. Maybe that's what they're doing, but a Vanquish 2, man, it could be something amazing. It definitely seems like that would fit in the Xbox ecosystem, but getting back to the point of this story, you got some more backwards compatible games. Congratulations, baby. Moving on into some more Xbox news. I'm telling you, Microsoft is going to buy Google one of these days. That's going to be a rumor one of these weeks. Microsoft is buying Google. I mean, God, dog. Anyway, moving on. Into some Game Pass news. Of course, this is actually pretty cool too. Now, of course, Microsoft is betting big. I mean, they're gambling big on their Netflix service, having Sea of Thieves available day and date in the service with the retail release. But they are not resting on their laurels. Now, on March 1st, 7 more titles will be available in the service, including Rise of the Tomb Raider, Super Lucky's Tale, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Oxenfree, Sonic CD, The Final Station, and Euro Fishing. Now, I gotta tell you guys, it seems like I'm saying this every single time I record the podcast. Microsoft is really trying. They're trying to make the service good. I mean, Rise of the Tomb Raider is a really good addition, in my opinion. And Super Lucky's Tale, that game just came out late last year. I mean, what was that, like October, November, like at the end of the year, that game came out, and they're putting it in Game Pass. And I mean, those two to me are the bigger standouts on the list. The Final Station, hey, it's something. I played that game. That's all I can say about it. But Sonic CD, another really good one. Once again, another Sega game coming over into the fold. But I mean, this is really good news. Hopefully this is something that will continue. Well, I'm pretty sure it has to continue at this point in order to make the service a success. But like I said, they're really trying, and Rise of the Tomb Raider was a great game. But moving on into some Rocket League news. Now, the game is still, this is so amazing, the game is still going strong with content. Now, the most recent to get this treatment is an extended partnership that Psygnosis has made. I'm butchering these people's names, my bad. Psyonix is their name. Hopefully I said that right. But they have made a deal with the WWE where players can expect customization options like wrestling themed decals, cars, and possibly flags. Now, more details will be revealed about this in April. Now, also, if you are a DC fan, DC Comics DLC pack will add a bunch of superhero-themed cosmetics and 2 Batmobiles. Now, this will launch on March 5th for $4. I tell you, Rocket League is a phenomenon, man. I mean, Psyonix, these guys struck gold. And the thing is that Sony put it on, what was it, the PSN, PlayStation Plus, games for the month, right? That's where it really got its start, and it has taken off. I tell you, I really thought this was going to be a bit of a fad, and it was going to, kind of fade into the background, but this game continues on. What is Rocket League going on? Maybe 2, maybe 3 years at this point? I'll safely say maybe 2, possibly going on 3. But it's an amazing story. I mean, congratulations to these guys. They keep getting, these partnerships. WWE is up next. I mean, heck, man, you might be driving around with a John Cena decal on your joint. I don't know. But let's move on to the next story, which is very, very interesting. Now, in Witcher 3 news, you guys may recall back in December that CD Projekt Red said it would add HDR support to the PlayStation 4 Pro in the close future. But as it stands, almost 3 months now, it's been almost 3 months. 3 months later, the patch has still not been released, leaving PlayStation 4 users wondering when it will release. Well, community manager Marcin Momat, has come out to apologize for the studio's silence on the matter and has said the studio, and I quote, should have more info on that next week. So, for you PlayStation 4 Pro owners, hopefully this HDR support will be coming. I'm sure you guys have been waiting in anticipation of it. The Xbox One X did get that patch, and it seems like it's working well. So hopefully these guys over at CD Projekt Red will definitely give you guys some positive news coming up next week about this matter. I do think that, at least, it is cool that they're going to, tell the people something. After 3 months, I mean, that's a quarter. People start to wonder, after a couple days, what's going on. So hopefully it's no limitation, because of the PlayStation 4 Pro. I would hope not, and that you guys that have the Pro will definitely be able to enjoy that HDR in all of its glory. Now, moving on into some PC news. I know I've been real light on the PC side, but I definitely have some news for you guys that may interest you. Now, the demo for Final Fantasy 15 has been released. So this should give you a sense of how the game will perform on the platform before it officially is released next week on March 6th. So I'll tell you, man, God, dog, I'm starting to sit here and I'm thinking, man, wait a minute. PC guys, God, dog, man, y'all be getting the short end of the controller sometime. Man, y'all controller cord is short, man. Y'all getting the short end. Y'all got all of this power, you got all of these frames per second. You got these resolutions and I mean, just powerful, beastly PCs that can just run laps around the Xbox One X and a PlayStation 4 Pro. But it seems like you guys are really on a waiting list for these daggone games, man. I mean, we haven't heard anything about Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out. Final Fantasy 15, like I'm saying, it was delayed until March. Also, man, another game that just came out, Monster Hunter. You guys don't even have Monster Hunter yet. It's like, man, you guys really gotta wait. I mean, Burnout Paradise, I'm sure you guys aren't worried about it. And I'm not taking shots. I promise you, this is not me taking any shots. I'm just saying, golly, it really, I never knew you guys had to wait so much, for the games that consoles just get. So, man, I mean, hey, hopefully this is well worth it. I hope so. I hope Final Fantasy 15 lives up to you guys' expectations. I have the game and it is still in the wrapper. Oh, shame on me. Moving on into a quick news story, though. If you plan on, actually, you know what? I got to rearrange this. Yakuza 6, the demo, was supposed to have been released today, actually. And I'm recording this on the 28th, the last day of the month. It was supposed to have been released yesterday, actually. But the problem that happened was the demo was going to be 37 gigs, and it was going to be on PlayStation 4. And I went looking for that demo. But come to find out, they pulled it off of the store. So if any of you guys were looking for it, you might be saying, well, what the world happened? You said it was coming out, a demo. Check this out, man. The 37 gigs, that was really, really aggressive for a demo. Everybody was saying that. But come to find out, you were actually downloading the full game. So their thought in this, which is Sega, they said, hey, if you do decide to get the game, at least it's downloaded and all of your progress was going to carry over anyway. So, seems like a good idea. Great idea, right? Not actually. What happened, the reason why they pulled it from the store is because they were actually giving away the full game for free. So where the demo was supposed to stop, gamers kept on playing. They were like, wait a minute, it is no cap. I can keep on going. I'm going to keep going. So Sega got whiff of this and they found out about it and they just shut it down, man. I wasn't fast enough. Couldn't get it. But, I mean, that's what happened. Sega said that they're looking into it. It's no 100% guarantee that the game will ever get a demo at this point, but they are looking into it. Man, wish I was faster. But moving on to the next story, I tell you, just on a side note, with Yakuza 6, I'm really looking forward to this game. Been trying to decide whether or not I'm going to get into it or not. Kind of looks like Shenmue. You're able to play some of the old Sega games, man, Outrun and some other stuff. It looks so cool. If any of you listeners out there have played this game, any of the Yakuzas that have any background on it, please either, leave an email, let me know how you feel about it, or voicemail. But moving on, now let's talk about some more PlayStation news. Now, it looks like, and God, dog, Sony, man, y'all are something these days, brother. It looks like the PlayStation Plus games for March have been unveiled. And wow! They are pretty stellar, I gotta tell you. For PlayStation 4, the games will be Bloodborne and Ratchet and Clank. Oh my gosh, man. Now let me move on. I'm gonna come back to that. Now for the PlayStation 3, you will receive Legend of K and Mighty Number 9. Now, the one that really pumps me up is Ratchet and Clank. I'm gonna get back to that in a minute. But Sony did have some other news to say once they released this list. Now, Sony did say, as of March 2019, the PlayStation Plus service will strictly focus on PlayStation 4 software. So that means no more PlayStation 3 or Vita games for the PlayStation Plus platform. They will not be supported as of literally this time next year. So, but that's understandable. At this point, the PlayStation 3 is 12 years old or going on 12 years old. And, the Vita isn't, I know it's a faithful fan base out there, brother. And I'm not, no diss, but it has not been doing so great lately. It's kind of on its last leg, so this makes sense. But getting back to some positive news with this, if anybody has a PlayStation 4, anybody out there listening right now, and you have not played Ratchet and Clank, what are you doing with your gaming life? Ratchet and Clank, I played this game. Now, keep in mind, I want to preference this by saying that I have never played a Ratchet and Clank game before the PlayStation 4. When I played this game, I was completely floored. My jaw dropped. The game is absolutely gorgeous. It is a ton of fun. Gameplay is fantastic. The weapon selection is phenomenal. The platforming is great. The story was funny in some parts. It was just an overall amazing experience. When I played that game, I gave that game a 9 out of 10 because I thought it was just that amazing. Stellar game. So for any of you guys who have PlayStation Plus and have never played Ratchet and Clank, that should be on your priority list to download. I'm dead serious. Amazing game. Bloodborne. All I know is it's a spinoff of the Dark Souls series, and I don't want no smoke. I do not want any smoke with Dark Souls, and I darn sure don't want any with Bloodborne. But moving on to the next story at hand now. Oh man, this next story is something else, buddy. Now, the ESRB, oh, buddy, these guys are always busy. The ESRB is adding a new, and I quote, in-game purchases label. That is what they are adding. Now, they're adding this to physical games. Now, this label, oh my gosh, this label will warn buyers of any potential microtransactions that may be in the game, including bonus levels, skins, surprise items such as item packs, loot boxes, and mystery rewards, along with music, virtual coins, and other forms of in-game currency, as well as subscriptions, upgrades, and more. Now, if you're a parent, oh boy, if you're a parent and you're out here buying these games for your little kid named Timmy and Tom and Hank, then you want to find out some more information about this, you can go over to parentaltools.org. I'm going to tell y'all something, brother. Let me put my daggone book down for a second. Man, I read this story and I said, my goodness. Okay. Now, the ESRB. Now, back in when the ESRB started, you guys, back in like 92, 93, around the time when Mortal Kombat came out, right? That was one of the first games that had the mature rating. What did it say? Just MA on the box, I believe. I mean, it's been refined over the last 20 plus years since then. But Mortal Kombat, that game rightfully it had the mature audience label because it was bloody as a mother lover. And that was understandable. Now, this has been going on for many, many years. The ESRB has these ratings, all of this stuff on the front of the box. All of these warnings, nudity, cursing, violence. I mean, it has the full description of what's going on already on the box. Now, you guys are going to add these other labels, to them, talking about loot boxes, talking about mystery rewards and all kinds of currency in the game. My question to you, Mr. ESRB director, is if you guys have already had these labels on the front of these games and on the back, and parents still continue to get their 10 and 11-year-old sons and daughters GTA 5, The Order, as well as any other M-rated game out there, why do you think this is even going to make a difference? I mean, I understand maybe on paper it looks good. Oh, yeah, we're looking out for people. We have the best interests at heart for you kids, for your kids. We have their best interests at heart. My thing is, if you're a parent, if you're an adult, and you are not monitoring your children's playing habits, then that should fall on you. Okay, I get so sick and tired of these different outlets, and I understand it's ESRB's job. I get it. But I get so sick of people always trying to shift the blame. Parents. If you are a good parent, if you are a coherent parent, then you should be monitoring what your children are doing. Okay, I understand this loot box thing. They're saying that it's gambling. They're saying the kids are getting sucked in, learning bad habits from an early age and all of this stuff. Hey, man, I'll put it on the parents. That's all. That's all I got to say about it. Parents, watch your kids. All right? If he's 10, 11 years old, there's no reason why he should be playing a M-rated game. That's my only point. This is not going to do anything, in my opinion, my humble opinion. I don't think this is going to fix any of the problems because they're still saying the video games are to blame for certain things that have happened. And those, I will not mention those unfortunate tragedies. You guys know what I'm talking about. But yet, these games always have had the M-rated thing on the front, the label, but it gets ignored. Anyway, I don't think this is going to change anything. Once again, parents out there, go to parentaltools.org if you want to know more. Some of you, I guess, more responsible parents, you'll probably check it out. The parents that let the video game babysit their kids, this is going to just fly under the radar. I don't understand how your kid even has access to your cards to even make these purchases on the system. On my Xbox One, I have it where you can't even make a purchase unless I put in a code for you to be able to make the purchase. Just, man, get your life together. Anyway, man, I'm moving on, brother. Shucks. Moving on to the next story, man. Let's lighten it up a little bit. In Mario Odyssey news, it looks like DLC isn't out of the question. Now, in an interview with Game Informer, the March issue, this is in the March joint, Mr. I'm going to butcher this guy's name, and I'm sorry, but Mr. Yoshiaki Koizumi, I think I did it. Give me an achievement, goddaggit. Mr. Yoshiaki Koizumi said this about this, and I quote, he says, "I can't announce anything specifically today, but of course, if there was a real cool idea for us to do, then we would certainly be thinking about DLC. So I know that the latest DLC that came out for the game was I think you're chasing balloons down with Luigi or something like that. I had talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but nothing outside of that. I mean, hey, I gotta say, Nintendo is really starting to come around, man. I mean, they're getting an online service in September. Zelda has been getting DLC. I mean, they've been putting M-rated games on the platform. I mean, man, Nintendo, they taking steps, brother. They taking steps. So I do believe that, like this guy said, if an idea does come to their mind and, it seems like it's really cool and it'll work, that this could happen. Now, to my knowledge, I did play Mario Odyssey. I don't own it, but I did spend a little bit of time with it. Very good game. A lot of fun. Just a great amount of fun. A lot of callbacks to the older games. Just a really good game. So the content is already in there. It's a ton of content. But if they do make some more well, not more, but if they do, have DLC, well, I guess some more, yeah, because the Mario balloon thing. Anyway, if they add some more, this would be fantastic. Great, great, great. Let's move on, though, because there's not much more to say about this. Into some quick Sony news. Now, this is actually a really cool incentive. If you do spend $100 or more from now until March 6th on PSN, you will receive a code worth $15 in PlayStation credit. Now, I got to let you guys know, if any of you guys have been wondering, I did tell you that I did get Gravity Rush 2. I purchased that. That was a game on sale. I believe I bought that game on PSN for like 22 or 23 bucks. It was very, very cheap. They have some other games that are on sale. So for any of you ballers out there, if you spend $100 or more, not including tax, that is, you could get $15. I think this is cool. Similar to Microsoft actually giving you up to $100 if you keep on referring your friends to either Game Pass or Xbox Live Gold. That's why competition is fantastic. You need it. One sees one doing it, the other one jumps on it. Love it. Now, in another quick news story, Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that is absolutely gorgeous. This game has actually sold 7.6 million copies worldwide. I tell you, I was very shocked because the last amount of numbers that I heard about with this game, it was at 3.2 or 3.3. I said, man, that is a absolute disservice to this game. But it is great to see that worldwide it is up to 7.6 million. Congratulations to Guerrilla Games for this, and a big congratulations to Sony for giving Guerrilla Games the opportunity to make something outside of Killzone, which was not really catching on like they hoped. So hopefully Microsoft will follow suit and do similarly to what Sony was able to do with Guerrilla Games. I gotta say though, 7.6 out of 70 million though. God, dog, that is still rough, man. I mean, jeez, the game, I would have thought it would have easily done 10 million, 12 for sure. But I guess it really is true that the hardcore demographic in gaming is not as prevalent as we all would like to hope. I guess we are the minority because every gamer that I know has the game that has a PlayStation 4. They picked it up. But, man, for it to have sold that much worldwide, you gotta wonder, us core fans out there, we must be a very small drop in the bucket if this is the case. But anyway, moving on though, now this is some unfortunate news. I hate to report unfortunate stuff, but it refers to David Jaffe. David Jaffe's studio, he co-founded, entitled the Bartlett Jones Supernatural Detective Agency has unfortunately shut down. Now, this seems to have happened because the vast majority of the team was actually let go because its next project had been canceled. Now, the sad part about this is the studio only shipped one game, and most of you guys that have followed David Jaffe's work, you know that was Drawn to Death, which it did not do well. It got a 5. It was averaging like a 5.6 on Metacritic or something like that. Wasn't doing well. And I mean, I love the art style of the game. I thought it was a very original concept, but it just didn't deliver. So this is just some really sad news and, very unfortunate. I always hate to see a studio shut down because these are people's jobs, after all, that are on the line, their livelihood. So hopefully these guys will be picked up and they'll have another home soon at another studio. But moving on into another quick story. Now, Crisis, man, is this even worth mentioning, man? Here I go dumpster diving again, brother. I'm diving again. Man, bump it. I'ma mention it. All right. We're not gonna dwell on it though. But man, is this gonna be another Mattel moment about them taking a dag or bringing out a Tomb Raider Barbie moment again? I don't know, man. But Crisis on the Planet of the Apes VR is coming out April 3rd on the PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, and HTC. See that? I'm done. I'm not going into it. I'm going to move on, brother, because I'm going to tell you, that last podcast when I talked about that Tomb Raider doll, brother, oh, man, news was super slow that week. I'm sorry. Moving on, though, to the next story, man. Now, A Way Out, you guys might know about this game. I'm sure everybody has to know about this game by now, but A Way Out has actually gone gold, according to Joseph Ferris. Now, here is his Twitter quote. Now, his quote is hashtag A Way Out has gone golden. I can't even describe my excitement. Get ready on March 23rd. End of quote. This game is a game that I've really been looking forward to. I have to tell you guys, ever since I saw it at E3, I believe it was on EA's stage where they showed it at. Game looks stellar. It's a 2-player co-op game based in the 70s. You guys are kind of split screen in certain parts, but always close by, where one person may be picking a lock and you're actually watching his back to make sure that nobody sees him doing it. I mean, this is really, really going to be a great game. I'm calling it. This is going to be a solid 8 out of 10. I'm already saying it. I feel that way. The only thing about it is that you will, in order to play the game, you will need someone else, another real life person to play with you co-op. But as long as one of you guys has the game, you can always invite that friend into the same game that you're playing, so you never have to worry about not being able to play it. Moving on to a really cool story, man. This is kind of nice, and this is actually the final story of the week. Now, the list of Xbox One enhanced games list keeps on growing. This list just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Now, the list now includes Crackdown, The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, Fable Anniversary, and Forza Horizon. Now, you may be wondering, similar to myself, what these enhancements will do. Well, the games will run at a higher resolution, improved textures, and anti-aliasing. I always have a hard time with that word, anti-aliasing. Yeah, I think I said that right. And a higher frame rate. But if you want to experience the game, now, I don't know why you would want to do it this way, but if you do want to experience the game with no enhancements, you can now disable them via a new feature that is accessible by bringing up the Xbox 360 guide, going into settings, and selecting Xbox One X settings. Now, this is where you will find two options. You'll have the graphics option, which is the existing mode that improves visuals and performance. I'm sorry. It's gonna just daggone make the visuals better. God dog. Now, performance that's gonna favor frame rate and should be comparable to what's playable on a non-Xbox One X system. But either way, the choice is yours. So, I thought this was really, really cool. Seeing Crackdown being backwards compatible and getting these Xbox One X enhancements, The Witcher 2. I mean, this is a really good list. The original Forza coming over from the 360. I love the fact that Microsoft is making it so these 360 games are actually getting new life, being able to have the better textures, running at a better frame rate. This is absolutely great. I don't think it's much more to say about this, but Microsoft really is bringing something different to the table. I really thought that PlayStation was going to do the same with the Pro, and I understand that it wasn't as big of a leap for the PlayStation 4 Pro, so maybe they are limited in what they can do. But either way, I mean, I'm a fan of both companies. I really enjoy what each company brings to the table. But I'll just say this. I really think Microsoft is really trying very hard to, just let the consumer know, hey, we have your best interests at hand. We want you here. We're going to enhance these games. And the thing is that they are free of cost. It doesn't cost you anything unless you don't own the games already. So for them having this performance mode, it's fantastic. And I'm talking way too much. But anyway, that is the end of this week's gaming news. And we will be back with the final section of the podcast after this week's video game theater. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Stay tuned, guys.
Oh, God, my head feels like it's ripped open.
It's the headband.
What?
The slave headband. The one I fit on you.
You put this on me.
Let me explain.
Get this thing off, or I'm gonna rip your head off.
No.
No? You think I'm screwing with you?
Yes! Come in, stop! It works. Come in, move away from me.
What the hell are you doing?
I hacked a slave headband so it could be activated by my voice commands. Activation triggers a systemic pain response. It's what controls the slaves.
I'm gonna kill you.
You can't. If my heart stops beating, for any reason, the headband will discharge a lethal dose. If I die, you die.
Oh. Why?
I need your help. I come from a wind farmer community. It's about 300 miles from here. I'll never make it on my own. If slavers don't get me, Mex will. That's the deal. Give me back to my...
And welcome back, game players. Welcome back. Well, we are definitely in the final section of the podcast, and just like clockwork, every week I love asking you guys a different question. And this week I did have a question that I was going to ask, but I thought, hey, this week in Rumorville, it's a lot of Microsoft Sega talk. Now, I don't know if this is true. I don't know how deep this possible meeting that they had in Redmond went. I don't know if they're really up for negotiations or, if they're really trying to get certain IPs off of Sega. I don't know if that's the case or not. But I thought it would be fun to ask the question, if you're an Xbox fan like myself, what Sega IP should Microsoft buy, in your opinion? Now, this is just for fun. We don't know. We could hear 10 minutes after this is recorded that whole rumor gets debunked right away. But let's just have some fun, game players. If it was up to you, you're Phil Spencer, you're in the driver's seat, what Sega IP would you buy? And I would tell you, me personally, I would love to see, and some of you guys are probably going to disagree and say, I can't believe you came up with that out of everything that Sega has. But I would love a Jet Grind radio, a new one. I was a huge fan of the series. That would be phenomenal. On top of maybe a Phantasy Star Online as well. Since the JRPGs aren't that heavy on the Xbox side, having a Phantasy Star Online, that may do a little bit of justice. I mean, these are just two that I'm coming up with, but I would love to hear what you guys think about this. And if you want to be a part of this section of the podcast, you can always feel free to either email the show at the analogcirclepodcast@gmail.com or leave a voicemail at 443-216-9934. Definitely let your voice be heard, and it will be played on the next podcast. So with that being said, guys, this is it. This is the end of this week's episode, but that's all right, because we will be back next week. But until then, guys, remember this, man. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. You guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.